Hello, Mac. It's wonderful to have you here today on the show.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thank you, Katie, for inviting me. Anything I can do to help, it's always welcome. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for your kind words. I'm thinking, as one of the top business coaches out there for business owners, you've probably seen a massive shift in the world over the last year. And I'm wondering, what is the main struggle that you've seen that your clients have had to deal with?
Good, very good question there, Katie. We over the last year or 18 months, there's been a lot of uncertainty. As you know, some business owners haven't been able to operate their business as they would have done in 2019 or even early 2020. And so with that uncertainty, because of whatever reasons, the pandemic, the economic situations, the social situation, comes a lot of, it can be very stressful to people, to business owners, because, if you're in business, the idea of business is to make cash flow, to make money. And if money's not coming in, at some point you need to shut up shop or shut up your operation. Those who were operating virtually were kind of lucky because they can continue doing what they're doing virtually. But unfortunately, if you're a restaurant owner, if you are a gym owner and it is a physical place, it becomes a problem. And I think the uncertainty that's created can create stress. But what I've said to people, a lot of our clients, and I've trained hundreds of thousands of people all over the world to improve their business, improve their life, is this is always a wake-up call as to whatever business I'm in now, what can I do to take it virtually as well? So I think that during the course of 2020 and 2021, people have had that realization that if I'm a gym owner, can I get my instructors to teach online? If I'm a restaurant owner and people can't come into my restaurant, and we've had clients who actually started selling their recipes online and selling the food online as well. And they just deliver the products to their doorstep because they love the food, they love the chef. And so in times of uncertainty, it's a time to really reflect and say, okay, what is in my power to do? And what is it that I can't really affect either way? So the pandemic situation, it's created a situation there. There's things you can't do because it's not in your control. It's government decisions. But what can you do? And so we've coached a lot of our clients to think differently. And when there is uncertainty, to take a breath, to take some time to reflect and say, what's in my power to do? So I don't know if that answers your question, but it's about having the right vision and then having the right attitude towards I can do this rather than I can't do anything, so I'm stuck.
Yes, I like what you're saying in terms of changing and readapting the strategy, going more virtual for people that were more offline. I think that's really important. But I'm also more interested somehow in the mindset part, because I think it's interesting you talking about being proactive when we can, but I'm looking also at, in general, I feel there's a lot of uncertainty when you have your own business. I know I've coached clients who were just worried next month of not having an income. So I'm wondering, in these types of situations where we can control it up to a certain extent, like up to a certain extent, we can control some income coming in, but there's also always going to be a bit of uncertainty. Same with our health. We can take care of ourselves, we can exercise, we can do all the right things, tick all the boxes, but there's always a margin of uncertainty. So how do you help your clients and people you know and impact to manage that small margin of uncertainty that's just a part of life?
Absolutely. And there is uncertainty in everything we do. Now, the difference between an employee and a business owner, one key word: risk. Risk. So the employee says, look, I will exchange my time for money. I will come in and I'll work from 8 till 5, 9 till 6, whatever it is. And at the end of the month, you pay me. All right. And while that's a false sense of security in a way, but because people lose their jobs, and as we know, that happens. So someone then jumps in to become a business owner, or they start their own business, automatically there is uncertainty. It comes with the territory. So if you've already if you're already in business, you've started your business, you've been operating your business, you and I both know that every day there is uncertainty, and every day brings with it risk. So how do you develop the mindset where you can continue going on even in the face of adversity, uncertainty, and all that risk? And I think it's about developing your risk mindset. And the way to develop your risk mindset is, there are several ways, but one of the ways is role playing. So meet up with someone, role play before you go and have that meeting, and so that you can kind of iron out what possibly may come up, whether it's a sales call, whether it's a presentation. What else can you do? Have a simulation. So actually write down scenarios. And if I do this, this is a possible outcome. What if it went this way? What's the worst thing that can happen? So I teach my clients also look at different scenarios. So now they are sure the scenarios. Now they know what the elements of risk is. They can go forward or actually make a different decision. So uncertainty means, for me, risk. And so how can you minimize that risk? Well, role play, have some simulations, actually go out and do it. When it comes to sales, practice your objection handling. You know, what are people going to object to? What are they going to say no to? Why are they going to say no? Practice overcoming that so you can feel more comfortable before you go into the sales call.
Yes, that's also a huge part of uncertainty, sales calls. And I love how much you're talking about what's going on in our minds, like dealing ahead of time with objections. Because I think when it comes to sales, there's a lot out there in terms of strategies, do the numbers and it pays off. And here's a way to structure your sales call. But I feel it's so much more about what's going on in our own heads. So if you could give us a few pointers on how you feel that mindset impacts sales.
Yeah, mindset is a big part of sales. Mindset is a big success mindset is a big part of sales, of business, of wealth, of money. And the people who thrive and do very well have a different mindset to those who don't. So let's talk about sales then. The only way to get better at sales is to practice, 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 and practice. Now, many years ago, I struggled in sales. I really couldn't sell. Now, in the last 10 years, I've sold millions and millions and millions of pounds worth of services to people who need it. And so there is a theme that I've found, which is, and I'm sure you'll agree to this, Katie, if it's a product or a service that you are passionate about, that you are knowledgeable about, that you really know it's going to make a difference to people, often you'll find it easier to sell that, okay? When it's a product or a service that you have uncertainty about, you're not sure if it'll work for people, you don't believe in it, it's hard to sell. And it can go as far as even a coach or a consultant. They know their product works. They know it helps people, but there is a lack of belief within themselves. And that lack of belief within themselves would actually then create resistance. Without that resistance is a form of fear. Mm-hmm. And that fear is what? The fear boils down to just a couple of things. One is they're going to say no, which is a fear of rejection. They don't love me. Why did they say no? They don't like me. They don't like my product. They don't like my service. But it's not a rejection of you. It's an objection to what you've presented. And so when anyone gives an objection, it's like, oh, okay, give me an opportunity to explain a bit better. Maybe I didn't explain it properly the first time. That's why they said no. And by the way, you and I know they don't always say no. What do they say? Can you send me an email about that? Can you put something in the post? Can I contact you next time? Or I need to speak to my boss. I need to speak to my husband. I need to speak to this. So people don't often say no. They'll just give you an objection. And Katie, in all my research, there are only 4 main objections. Should I share with you what those 4 main?
Okay, 2, time and money, no?
What's that?
Time and money would be 2 of them, no?
Yeah, absolutely. Time, it's not the right time for us. We do this in April or whatever. Money, I can't afford it. It's beyond our budget. Third one is interest. really, we've just bought this last year, so we're not really interested in this year. Or actually, we have something better than this and it's working for us. Or actually, it's not something I want to buy. It's not of interest to me. And the other one is trust. Number 4 is trust. And trust is broken down into 2 areas. One is, I don't trust you. I don't trust your company. I don't trust the product. And often it's because I haven't heard enough and I haven't seen any social proof and I don't know if it will work for me. And the other type of trust is, I don't trust myself that I can actually do this. Actually, I can follow through. I can actually implement it. So trust is a big one. And because if someone doesn't believe they can use the product or it's going to work for them, they're not going to go for it. So I'll talk about fear and fear of rejection. And what you need to bear in mind is they're not rejecting you. They just have an objection because there's something that you haven't told them or they haven't heard. So that's a key thing here. Fear of rejection when it comes to sales.
Yes, that's huge. And the self-belief, like you were saying, consultants and coaches, they might believe in their service and their product, but if they don't believe in themselves, I know that I had this huge shift within myself that in my particular case was linked to success stories from the past with clients. And when I thought about that while I did the sales call, that sort of empowered me because I thought I can really help this person. And so then it was no longer about me, but about the knowledge I had that I'd helped other people. And I'm sure a lot of other coaches and consultants think this way also. Once they start having successes, it helps them because it's almost as if they have tangible proof. It's almost as if they can feel it, and then the self-belief is easier. Ideally, we shouldn't rely on external sources to give us this self-belief, but I have seen it helps a lot.
That's a great technique, because if you have proof that you've helped other people, that should give you the courage and the impetus to say, actually, this works. And like for me and my coaches, we've got a team of coaches who work with us. We've got coaches around the world delivering to our clients. And one thing we can say with absolute categoric fact is this, because we've done it so many times, that we can take any small business in the service sector, coaches, consultants, therapists, and all that, and we can double their sales. We can double their sales in less than 1 year. Why? We've done it too many times. We have a system, we have a template, we have a process, and they just got to go through it. And in less than a year, 100% or 200% increases in their sales revenue. And we've got social proof. We've got real clients who say, this is what happened. This is what happened. And sometimes it's not even a year, 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, and it's there. And so with that kind of social proof, you can be confident that speak to people and let the social proof, let the testimonials, let the success stories lead the way.
What do you feel is the key element that helps these business owners to double, triple, quadruple their sales over the course of a year? What do you feel is the key element of that whole process that really is the paradigm shift?
There's several things, and the ingredient for us is this. One is changing the mindset of the business owner from the mindset of self-employed, that means I have to do everything, to a mindset of a business owner. Actually, I'm going to, and what's the difference between a self-employed and a business owner? Well, a self-employed believes they have to do everything themselves. They have to be there for it to happen. And the business owner mindset is, I'm actually going to now start putting in systems, automations. I'm going to start bringing in assistants or some other people to support me. I'm going to leverage systems, people, resources. Having that mindset now says, okay, now I'm operating my business differently. I'm thinking about it differently. I'm doing things differently. And by doing that, it frees you up to have more of the helicopter view on your business. And it's hard to do at the beginning, but once you've got sales and marketing handled and cash is flowing in, your job is now to get a personal assistant, someone to support you, get a bookkeeper, someone to take care of the money, and start building your business that way. When we run our business boot camps, I go through a systematic way and show people exactly how to do it. And so when you say, what's the one key thing? It's about structure. It's about systems. It's about the mindset of the person, of the business owner. And it's also about having the ability to sell and to market and feeling comfortable with that. So we have processes we teach people. And so all these things add up. All these things make a difference. And one of the things that I say, and my mentor says many times, he says, your business, your wealth and your money can only grow to the extent that you grow. So unless you are willing to grow and step out of your comfort zone, there is no way you can double or quadruple your business. It can't happen. You've got to, there's a period of being uncomfortable before you can get really comfortable. But that's a good journey to go on, because now you're making more money, you're able to help more people, you're able to look after your family.
Nice. I love this. And I think it's so important to sort of keep that in mind, that we need to grow at the same time for the business to grow. And this is why I love speaking, with business owners like yourself and top coaches and trainers, because they have grown so much. I'm not really interested in how wealthy someone is. I don't really care if they have 6, 7, 8 figures. It's more for me about the mindset these people have that has then led them to that amount of money. So that's the real interesting part, I find.
Correct. And it is a big shift. And here's a good thing about that, Katie, as well, is this: if you are let's say you are a 5-figure business owner, or even a 6-figure business owner waiting to go to your next level, to move from one step to another stage means you have to change. Your mindset has to change. Like you said, your thoughts has to change. And most importantly, your habits and routines have to change. And so on that journey to having a better business, you have grown. So should you feel good about that? Yes, I can relate to people better. I can sell better. I can market better. I can please my clients better. I've got better morning routines. I go to bed at a decent hour. I sleep better. I'm eating nutritionally well. I'm drinking properly. So your habits are going to change. So that's a good thing.
Yes. The impact on your own personal life on top of the business. And there definitely is a correlation. Before, I wasn't able to get up as early, and now 6 a.m. it's a lot easier. And yes, taking cold showers every single morning, preaching about cold showers all the time. Maybe I wouldn't have done it as much 2-3 years ago. Habits change, and it's sort of in a surprising way. It's not necessarily direct correlation, but little bits here and there, little nuggets, and everything changes. In the case, for instance, of cold showers, one of the reasons I'm so passionate about them is because I feel that it helps us to cope with discomfort. So if you do it first thing in the morning, something that's uncomfortable, then it's easier if you have. So it's not just about the health benefits and the good mood and reducing cortisol. So all these things really can impact mindset. One question I do have in all the things that you mentioned and routines and habits is the place for happiness. Because I've noticed a direct correlation between how happy I'm feeling, how much I'm enjoying, and sales and income. So I'm wondering, where does happiness, enjoyment, fun fit in your funnel and your process with your clients?
Oh, excellent. Good. I'll tell you a story. Many years ago, I came to a place where I wasn't happy. I was running my very first business. This was about 20 years ago. And I was over $100,000 in debt at the time. I was in debt. I owed money to other people. My business was in a mess. I had 2 business partners who had cheated the business, taken money out. So now I'm trying to keep the business alive and pay my staff, pay my team. And at that time, I ended up working 80 hours a week, 90 hours a week, 100 hours a week sometime, little sleep. I'm stressed out. My doctor says your blood pressure is really high. You've got to slow down. And at that time, Katie, my wife was pregnant with our second child. And a few years had gone by where I hadn't seen much of our first child. Now we've got this second child coming on board. And that's when I had the wake up call that something's not working here. Something's not working in my business. Something's not working in my life. I'm not happy. I'm on the verge of depression. I want to give up. And so for me, I suddenly came to realization I've got to change. And that's when I started reading all these business books, money books, wealth books, following different mentors, going to different seminars, listening to interviews like this about success from other people. So this is a great thing you're doing, Katie, because you don't know who else it's going to affect. So for me, listening to all these things, I realized that there were things I didn't know. So I went on the journey to discover all those things. And so I'm so glad I did, because now I have, years gone by, great businesses, I'm enjoying my life. And so reason why I love speaking, just like you, Katie, is this: when I was struggling and things weren't going well, and I was at the lowest point and I was unhappy, I prayed and prayed to find a way out. And the thought in my head was, like, if I can find a way to be financially successful, I'm going to commit and dedicate the rest of my entire life helping as many people around the world have exactly the same thing: more happiness, more success, better relationships, more money. And so that's what I've been doing for the last 16 years, just helping people to do that. And so, so I remember the day I sat down and wrote down my mission. And this fits in line with what you're saying. My mission became very clear to me. It was it's every day since 2005, it's been the same thing: to inspire, educate, and empower people to live a life of joy, courage, passion, and purpose. Now, every day when I'm doing that, I feel more fulfilled. I feel happier. So in answer to your question, Katie, if you can find something that brings you to life, your passion, your purpose, your mission, your why, as some people say, then happiness will then also come, because you're doing things that you want to do. There is meaning in what you're doing. And when there is meaning in what you're doing, fulfillment then follows. That's my belief. But when there's no meaning in what you're doing, and every day seems to be the same old, at some point you think, why am I doing this? And then that imagine someone working in a place they don't want to work in, or working in a business they don't really get any satisfaction on. That all that emotional stress and turmoil actually rolls into the family life. Then your spouse or your children get to sense it. You're not happy. And so how does happiness correlate with mission and fulfillment? Have meaning in what you're doing. And if you don't know how to do that, get help from people like yourself, Katie. Give people meaning in what they're doing. Then you have a better business. And then the reason why you're doing this. And whenever there is a challenge, you'll just face it head on, because it's going to make a difference to people. And that's how you're going to create happiness. I think a lot of people who are unhappy, there is no meaning in their life.
Yes.
That's just my belief.
That's beautiful. It gave me goosebumps. The bit with your mission. That was lovely. I'm wondering, coming back to that period of your life, what was the drop, the book, the thing that made that shift? Because you were learning all these things. Was it creating your vision? What was it that made you go from, $100,000 in debt and unhappy and almost depressed to actually, oh, this is working again? Was there a tangible moment, or was it just one thing onto the other?
I think the tangible thing was self-education. What is it I needed to learn in order to become the person I need to become, in order to get the result that I want to get? And I compare it to, imagine, as a teenager, you say to yourself, well, one day I want to win the Olympic gold medal at 100 meters running. Right. So as a teenager, you say that. So suddenly, how are you going to do that? Well, now you've got to show up, got to find a coach, turn up at a sports club, and you've got to now train and train and train and train, even when you don't want to train. All because in 4 years' time, 8 years' time, 12 years' time, there's a possibility of getting that gold medal. Possibility. And this is where some people in their life, they don't realize that if they don't set a goal or a meaningful goal or a big enough goal, they really don't know what help and support they need. Because the moment you set a big goal, you think, oh, I haven't done that before. How am I going to do it? You can go out and try and figure it out yourself. We say, actually, let me find someone who's been there, done that, who can support me so I can get there faster. So I can get there better. So that's what athletes do that all the time. But business owners think they can figure it out. And some people go on for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, retire and think, is this it? Right? I always value coaches. I have coaches who coach me. That's how I keep climbing, because I think there's more to life than trying to figure it out. If you can get there faster, then get support.
Absolutely. And on top of just strategies, it's also giving you that external feedback, because you can't see what's in that blind spot. You can't see everything about yourself. Even through meditating, even through journaling, there's always going to be aspects that come up with your coaches or mentors and you think, oh, hadn't noticed that. And then that helps you grow.
Absolutely. And for us, when we're coaching clients, the big thing is we do accountability very, very well. Accountability and support we do very, very well. And that's why, people grow their sales or grow their business dramatically. Why? Because we have a process of holding them accountable in a supportive manner for them to move towards that. Because a lot of them, they don't have these structures in place already.
Did you feel that accountability was one of the areas that you needed most when you started to rebuild your business after this difficult time?
I think the biggest thing was a change in mindset.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't afraid of hard work. I was always, working long hours. Obviously, I'm not afraid of hard work. But I had the wrong mindset. I had a mindset of self-employed rather than a mindset of a business owner. And so once I changed that mindset of to business owner to millionaire, once I changed that mindset, then the results started to show, because my habits had to change to reflect that. You understand? And so accountability is important. And I love I don't like accountability, but it helps. That's why I have coaches that hold me accountable. And so that's been a theme throughout the change that I had. And that's why I say to people, get a coach. Get someone who can hold you accountable. Not every coach can hold you accountable, and because they don't know how. And it's not an easy thing to do, because some people will slide through it, and people have a way of just sliding through it. But I have mechanisms in place which they get to see and think, oh, I can't get away with that. Not with Mac.
Not with Mac. That's not going to pass.
No, if they say to me, I want this result, okay, now here's the path to get it. So if you come off the path, you'll see it yourself. You've come off the path. I wouldn't even have to tell you.
I'm curious about some of these habits. So we spoke a bit about how when we grow, our business grows, and part of our own growth is developing these habits and routines. Could you share with us a few of your sort of key habits that you really feel has made a difference in your personal life and your business life?
Yeah, sure. For me, there's only 24 hours in a day. Okay. And so many years ago, I should go nonstop, like a mouse on the rat on that wheel. But then I came to realize, actually, if you want better results, then you've got to prepare for better results. So every day, 24 hours. What am I going to do in those 24 hours? Because as we know, 1 year goes like that. 2 years goes like that. If you think about it, if you think about where did the last 5 years go? It's just gone. Last 10 years, think 10 years ago. 10 years? It's just gone. So when I came to that realization, I thought, okay, every morning I've got to set up my day the way I've got to intentionalize my day. So I intentionalize my day. What's the intention I want for today? So every morning is about, for me, is meditation, prayer, visualization. So I prepare myself mentally, and I prepare myself emotionally. I prepare myself by doing my gratitude process. So I set myself up with the right intention. I've got my key things that I want to finish that day and get done that day. One of them is make sure I speak to Katie on time, and we have a great, great session in this morning session. And after I've done my preparation, I do my physical exercises. I've been practicing martial arts now for over 37 years now, I think. Over 37 years I've been practicing martial arts. Former UK champion. I'm a 5th Dan black belt in that art. And so for me, I practice, I do my rebounding on my rebounder. And then, yeah, by that time, it's I do all those things before I look at emails and WhatsApp and all that kind of stuff. And part of my routine now in the last few years is plant-based eating, because it keeps me more alert. At the age of 51 now, you know, it's, for me, nutrition is so important. So so I've certain routines before my routines. So then I've certain times I speak to my team members and my leaders, and I have certain times I do coaching for our clients, or I'm creating products or services. So I have my day and weeks structured. So I have time for me, my clients, time for my family, my wife, even as much as date nights in the diary with my wife each week, time for my kids. So for me, then it becomes a holistic thing. It's not just about business. It's not just about money, but it's about living life fully and helping others. So for me, that's so important.
Yes, I love the whole part about being intentional. It's one of the things I'm most passionate about, living intentionally and not on autopilot. And everything you have said is pure intention, from your morning routine to how you structure your calls with your team to spending time with your family. Intention. And that's how you make things happen. And that's how time doesn't sort of fly through your hands.
Absolutely.
Yes, so I really love this. We're already out of time. I don't know how half an hour has gone by. Speaking of time just flying through. Thank you so much, Mac, for being on the show. This has been such a pleasure.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me. Good luck with everything you're doing. Keep inspiring all the people and empowering all the people you inspire and empower.
Thank you.